Hi everybody, my name is Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today what I want to do is to talk briefly about two what are called relaunches. And these are brands that have been around, they go away, and then somebody else buys them, and then they come back again. And it's something that's always interesting. Now, one uh, that I have some. I have these Favre-Leubas, and I have three of them. I got them because one, they were cheap, and two, they had dual barrels in parallel. It's very hard to find watches with dual barrels in parallel because that's a type of movement that is for constant force for better timekeeping. My FP Journe chronometre Souvain has it, but these little Favre-Leubas have it too. Now it turns out that a big Indian company called Tata had owned these for a while. They are owned by some Swiss company. They started in Switzerland, and then they went hither and yon, and finally Tata sold them, and another company bought them, and they're trying to bring them back again. Now, the first one is called the Chief Chronograph, and taking a look at $4,800 is pretty good price, really. I mean, if you're for a fancier watch. Now, the caliber FLCO2, one indicated that it was a La Joux L113. And they make decent movements. La Joux does. They're owned somewhere along the line by Citizen Watches in Japan. It's an automatic, 4 hertz, 28,800 semi-oscillations per hour, 60-hour reserve. It's a nice looking watch. It's automatic, and even though I'm not a big fan of chronographs, this one's a very nice one, I think. It's got, it doesn't have a lot of junk on it. It's easy to read. And they have another line. They have two basic lines. One's called the Chief, and the other one's called Deep Blue. Okay, well, the Deep Blue is sort of a diver. And as we probably know, most people who buy divers, they refer to them as desk divers because that's what they wear them for. But as a good sports watch, the relaunch of Favre-Leuba, they're calling it Favre-Leuba 1737. I believe it's probably someplace way back when. One of the things that I noticed on it up in the far right, you can see the regulator. And the regulator is set up so that there's a big screw at the top, and you turn the screw left or right, and it will either tighten or loosen the hairspring to make it go faster or slower. And so I like that feature. Okay, now the other one is a lot more people were interested in this, and this is the Universal Genève. And I went to their site. They're under, quote, new management, but they're the caliber that they're going to be using in this pole router is called the pole router SAS. They don't have it out yet. I don't think any of the watches that Universal Genève has planned are quite ready yet. And these three, I believe, were set up to be among the first. And they have a caliber I-69 in it, which is or 169, which is an older, or 1-69, which is an older one. I mean, a much older one by Universal Genève. It's a wonderful movement. It's automatic, and it's a micro rotor, and it's 18,000 semi-oscillations per hour. Well, you don't find too many micro rotors at that speed. I mean, in watches with the lower frequencies, which I happen to like a whole lot. There is some anniversary coming up. The pole router and SAS, this is a route over the poles between the United States and Canada and Mexico and Europe. And this is to go over the poles rather than straight across the Atlantic like directly from New York to Paris or someplace like that. Instead, they went over the poles, and so they had that route, and they called the pole router. And they're bringing these back. These are 3 examples that they had of the new pole router, and they're using the caliber I-69, which is, like I said, a fairly old one. Anyway, it was sort of, it's interesting to watch what happens. It's sort of like, I don't know why, I sort of like a Groundhog Day. They come and you get up and they're gone, and then you get up and they're there. They keep coming and going. I don't know. The pole router is a watch I've always liked. I just like the name, the whole concept, and they have to do with flying. I used to fly. And so it's a very interesting thing to watch. They have several other models they're coming out with, but apparently these are among the first. Be very interested to hear what you think about these relaunches, not only of Universal Genève, but also Favre-Leuba. And this is one that was probably made while it was owned by in India. And but if you want to get a watch with a double barrel in parallel, okay, we know what that means. Both barrels are working at the same time to provide this steady power for the to keep more accurate time. You can find these things. I found a bunch of them for just they're called Favre-Leuba Twin Power. And you can find them for under $100 online. So let me know what you think. Meanwhile, take care. It's an opportunity to subscribe if you like. Until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.